And it's important to have those sort of people around you. And what you said before was really interesting, just to change the subject, about seeing your opponent. Now, you're facing Stylebender, Israel Adesanya, who's also at the back of the hype machine at the moment. What is it like seeing the dude you're taking on in what is built up to be, and probably very much is, a big moment in your career, just seeing him just there?
I hate it. I hate it. No one wants to see the guy that has to fight. Like, he doesn't like it. I don't like it. No one likes it. UFC likes it. Fans like it.
Fans like it.
But we don't like it. Like, I don't want to see this guy. I'm going to have to punch on with him soon. Like, I hate this character with every fibre of my being. Yeah, like, it's just hard like that. It's hard like
The
that.
character. How do you mean the character?
No, that guy.
That guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't want to see him.
Yeah.
Like, until...
You have
punch
to
on.
hate that person.
Yeah.
Not the person, but...
I don't hate him in the sense like where at night I'm thinking up malicious thoughts. But I hate him in the sense like, you're just the opponent right now. And I don't want anything to do with you. I don't want to see you until we fight.
And your attitude towards press conferences is not sort of the loudmouth sort of attitude, which I know you don't really enjoy. And that's just your personality.
Yeah.
And do you have much pushback against that? People trying to say, hey, come on, why don't you?
All the time. Since my career, they're like, you got to do this, you got to do that. Like, and you can see it with the way my media, my platforms, social media platforms, like they didn't skyrocket off the thing. I was never the hype train. I was the poor guy. I was the guy they had to fight every hype train. Every fighter that was on a hype, like was on a roll, had like 6 back-to-back wins, was the next big thing the UFC were pumping up. They put him against me. Derek Brunson, Uriah Hall, Jacare, Romero. Like they said, here you go, Rob. Like, add to their collection, and I put them away. And that's how I built my brand. Like I'm gonna do me. That's what I've stuck to my guns.
Those 2 fights against Romero, we spoke about that last week on your podcast, and it's one of the things that from someone who's not a fighter, to look at someone like Romero. I had this thing when I was playing footy that regardless of how big I am, I still looked at big people and was like, oh, fuck, that's a big dude.
Yeah.
Standing across the cage from him, obviously, maybe the first time is probably the better example of it. What was that like seeing that dude that's just like...
The second time was worse.
Second time was worse?
Do you know how much bigger he was that second time?
How much bigger was he?
Fucking huge. He was huge, man. Like, he was so big.
And it was noticeable for you.
I remember looking at him and be like, what the fuck did you eat last night? Like, how do I look like that? Like...
Asada's just going...
Yeah, there was nowhere to be seen. RDO.
The golden snitch is gone. He's out of the building.
Yeah, so, but yeah, it was just like, he's so big.
Yeah, and he's just like, he's the perfect specimen. Like, I blokes talking about other blokes' bodies is very seldom. But to look at him and you just go, how? Yeah. How are you doing that? Like, what are you eating in Cuba? Like, just smashing Cuban sandwiches and it just gives you this perfect fucking rig. But yeah, his fights against you, and he blew out your knee early in the first fight, and you broke your hand early in the second fight.
Yeah.
So to come out of both of those fights just battered, absolutely. That's actually, forget that question. What do you feel like the day after a fight? Because I playing footy, you're sore.
Yeah,
like, you're sore.
Very sore.
I can imagine very sore.
But it depends. Like, obviously, if you've won, it's all good.
Yeah.
Like, the pain's all right. But if you've lost, you're just sore and depressed.
Like, are you going straight to the hospital after a fight, or
it depends? It depends what it is, like how bad it was.
Yeah.
How bad the injuries are.
Like Mike Perry's the other week. That was horrendous.
Yeah, I think he needed to go straight to the hospital.
Because he had, and I'm sure we'll put an image up on the screen, but Mike Perry had a very similar incident to Robbie O'Davis. And Robbie O'Davis used to play rugby league here in Australia. And he broke his nose probably in the same direction from an elbow from someone running through the line. But he also, and Perry was pretty lucky, Robbie O'Davis broke the inside of his palate, the top of the roof of his mouth.
Really? Can you do that?
Yeah, apparently. He just copped, that's how hard he got hit with this elbow from some front rower running through as hard as he could. And he broke the inside of his palate and the nose, and it was all fucked up. So Perry, although he broke his nose and he looked a bit shit, he got away pretty lucky.
His nose was on the side of his face.
I know.
Like, that was... as such.
Could you imagine like looking at yourself after a fight, just going,
I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about it.
you're
I don't.
right.
Want to.
You're
You know what
fine.
I'm picturing?
No.
Being like doing this. You're like, oh, where is it? Like, what is this? like, I just like because you know when you get hit and you think you got cut, or when you had a knock in footy and something hurt, you'd be like,
Yeah, the old check. You're like, oh no, we're right.
Yeah,
I get that with like door frame squat.
Yeah, it's like so it's not too bad, just bleeding. How big is it? How big is it? It's like with his nose, he would have been like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it just keeps
like,
going.
Oh.
This has never happened.
Yeah,
Jesus
it's
Christ.
like I don't think this is normal.
It's one of the worst injuries, like ones you can actually see, apart from obviously like Anderson Silva's leg and all that type of stuff. But just terrifying, just from I think it was from an elbow, wasn't it? Yeah,
It was just terrible.
It was terrible.